where's the oversight? You know what I'm saying? So these people have a loophole where these people in position where they the ones who were supposed to be the guards at the gate, and they were just like, okay, I got the key. Nobody else is coming through the gate. Shoot, I'm going to do what I got to do.
Welcome back, folks. It's a brand new episode of It's About Your Paycheck, episode 16, and we've got a new drip. You know what I mean? Before we get into it, how you doing, Walt? What's going on today, sir?
Man, I'm good, brother. Man, I'm good. It's another day. Feels like this year is already flying by. January is already done. It's just crazy, man. But other than that, I'm just excited for today's show. As y'all can see, we're using a different type of backdrop. Usually before we had in Zoom, we had the different backdrops, but as you can see, we got some poster boards and some things behind us. Behind Brian, you can see some of the books and stuff. You want to talk a little bit about what you got,
we're
Brian?
just using our natural background, right? Like before we used the green screen type deal, and now we basically moved recording platforms, and they don't have an easy green screen function like Zoom and Google, all the other ones do. So we're like, all right, we're gonna have to make this look right so that the fans know what show we're doing. And yeah, man, so I just love that little personal touches in the back, and that's it, man. I'm loving it.
Yeah. So what do you got up there? You got some books. You got like a little.
Yeah, my books and so my kids gave me like a little different gifts. My Spider-Man, because Spider-Man from Queens, we rep, and you actually can see my little 50th anniversary bottle a little bit there. My Hennessy bottle is Nas. It's Hennessy Nas collabo 50th anniversary of hip hop edition. I couldn't find it in South Florida. I had my mom import it from New York for me.
Wow.
When I saw they were running the commercials during that time, and I was like, yo, I went to the local stores, and I was like, oh, what? It's not here. So I called my mom. I was like, Mom, there's a liquor store like right across the street from my mom's building in New York. So I was like, yo, okay, Mom, go check this out and see if you can get it. But she's like, yeah, they got it here. What do you want me to do? I was like, buy it and bring it back. So she brought it with her and whatnot. Oh, no, I think she sent it to me. But so that's that. And then this right here is a dope little, I wish it was bigger. It's a dope little, I guess I could grab it, right? See, it's a spray paint can. It's a piece of artwork. But Bruce Lee is dope. In it. And this is fly. Yeah. So, Bruce Lee. Ooh, I could put it right here with Nas.
That's from the Kiss of Death movie?
Yes, I believe so, with the yellow jumpsuit that he had on.
Yes.
Yeah. I know the Super Mario Brothers is up there, like right next to Spidey. Nice, a little Donkey Kong thing, and then my dad's shelf up over the top.
Nice, man.
There's actually more, but this is all that's in view for this. Yeah, man, that's it. What you got going? What you got going on the back over there?
Just our posters, man, and I got MJ.
No doubt.
Here, I grew up watching both.
Who?
Format. Like him, his generation of players in the 90s and stuff.
We old,
and then today's generation of players and stuff.
So who's the GOAT now? Who they say is a GOAT? Who's your GOAT, first of all? Throughout
for me, it has to be MJ because of how he started to change the game, how much impact he changed the game with. Because before him, there wasn't really a lot of all these endorsements, these star athletes getting money for commercials and all this other stuff until Jordan came around and he started getting his own shoes, his Air Jordans and stuff. So for me, because he changed the game the way he did and he was the best player in the league, it's him. LeBron overall, like passer and everything like that, LeBron is on paper statistically is better, but I got to give it to Jordan because I feel like he changed it for the future generations.
Dope.
Yeah, I got a little anime version of me. You really can't see it, but I'm into the anime.
So are you able to take it off and put it on the camera?
Yeah, hold on.
Because I caught a glimpse of it the last time he showed me. It's pretty cool. You guys got to see it. Look at that. That's dope. Yo, that's dope. Yeah,
it's a Itachi version of Walt.
No doubt.
Yep.
What? Who? Hitachi? That's a...
Yeah, that's the name. That's the name of the guy on the show.
Oh, no. What anime is that? Now, Naruto. Yeah, my son watches that one too. What? Yeah. So now, and guys, it's about your paycheck, but we just rambling here. Give us a second to get into the show. And we are talking about, just to keep you on pace here, we got a fun show today, True Payroll Crimes. We're going to
Yeah.
talk about some of the shady ish that people do with their paychecks and stuff like that, things you got to watch out for. But
Yeah.
real quick, I just want to ask, what's the difference between anime and Maga?
Ma- manga.
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 What's it?
Yeah.
Is
So
there a
the
difference?
the manga is like comic book.
Oh,
If you think about it,
okay.
and the anime is the actual animation of that comic book. So some of them come
Oh,
in the manga, so it's like that, and so you can read it. You read it in a different format though. You read
I
it
know. It's
from
like from the
yeah,
right to
from right
left
to
instead
left.
of left. Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw
yeah.
that.
So that's the difference. It's usually the same. Like
So it could be
Naruto
the
has
same,
a
right?
manga and an anime. Yeah.
Okay, okay. All right,
Dragon
bet.
Ball has the anime and the manga. Yeah, so it has both.
Okay, very cool,
Yeah.
very cool. Yeah, I heard. I know my son's into it, and my oldest daughter too, I believe. Yeah, good stuff.
Uh,
Good stuff,
got some
yo.
coming
I'm
out. They
excited.
got this
Oh
one
yeah.
show coming out on Adult Swim called Ninja Kumai or something like that.
Ooh, that
Man,
sounds cool.
I love a good ninja.
At least gosh, I'm from the era of Saturday afternoon kung fu movies, Saturday morning
Yeah,
stuff like Sundays, those classics kung fu theater.
yeah,
Basically,
yeah.
what Wu Tang built their whole sound around. Ooh, I'm gonna have to give me a Wu symbol back here. So I love ninja. I used to honestly, I look back at them, think about them now, and they probably look so corny. But there was this movie series called American Ninja, and it was
Yes,
like American
I
Ninja
remember that.
1, 2, 3,
Yes, I
4,
remember
5.
that.
Like,
I remember that.
bro,
Yes.
I loved the movies as a kid.
Yeah, my dad used to watch all that stuff, man. Every
Uh,
martial arts thing. My dad was all into that.
yeah, well,
Bloodsport.
hold on. I'm
Love.
not as old as your dad now. Don't be.
Oh, okay,
See, you
okay.
got people think I'm over here sick. Me and Walt only 4 years apart, probably, so don't get crazy. All right, cool. So let's get into it for the folks. We got
Yeah.
some news, some pay news to share with you first.
This episode is presented by TrakGO, the simply better employee time clock software that is going to make your life easier. In addition to the unique graphical employee time card that helps you quickly identify and fix mistakes, TrakGO is excited to announce it's now compatible with QuickBooks Desktop, providing effortless data transfer and reduced errors. TrakGO will not only save you time and money each week, but the easy to understand user interface and the ability to turn an ordinary tablet into an employee time clock will get you and your team up and going in just minutes. Find out what a simply better solution can do for your business. To learn more and sign up for your 14-day free trial, go to www.timetrakgo.com. That's TIMETRAK go.com or call 888-321-9922. Let's go.
I came across this article and it was dope because actually I heard it on the news. I listened to a ton of news podcasts and I
Mm-hmm.
heard hip hop star Wyclef John and Tia partners, TIAA, they are retirement plan providers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 401k, IRA, things like that. They sell these products. They're providers.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
had they did a collabo, and Wyclef came out with a song called Paper Right. And basically, I'm gonna read Wyclef's quote on what this is, right? So Wyclef John says, Paper Right is about building a financial legacy for future generations and the reward and gratification this brings. The most important thing he hopes people can take away from the song and his partnership with Tia is that saving early can set you and your family up for long term success. That is so true, man. And it's so in line, right, and in brand with what we're doing with this show. It's about your paycheck because again, it's your first stop in financial wellness, your paycheck, right, and the only
Mm-hmm.
stop for employee information. So that is just, and I was just telling my daughter that she's got a new job, she's excited about it, and I was like, yo, we got to start saving because the numbers, the calculations, and by the time you're 40 you can have $1 million saved
Yep.
if you do it properly and invest it, right, put it in a 401k,
Yep.
put it in a product that's still giving you some return on your investment every month, every year, whatever. And like, I'm so mad. Can you, if we did that when we were 20, right now we have $1 million in the bank.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah.
oh. So I
Yep.
urge young people, and shoot, at any age, if you got the time to invest, you start investing. If you're older, you have to do it more aggressively. But if you're young, oh my gosh, slow and steady wins the race. So that was a
Yes.
great call out. Go check out the track. It's called Paper Right. I haven't heard it yet. Just I should have listened to it, but I haven't heard it yet. Maybe we'll drop little snippets in the show. And that's all I had. What do you got?
So
What-
I didn't put the article on there, but I saw something from the BLS, and it was talking about unemployment and employment among youth. And so it's back from summer of 2023. So it is an older stat, but just wanted to put out some numbers there to give you an idea
Yeah.
of where younger people are. Because in this season, we're talking on this show and it's about payroll. We're talking about attracting young people to the workforce and payroll and
Yep.
what they like. July of 2023, 55% of young people, and that they consider young people ages between 16 to 24, were employed in the US that the BLS reported. That measure changed a little from 55.3% in July 2022. But that July figure of 55% still is below the level that it was in 2019 before COVID hit. So before COVID hit, it was 56.2% of young people working. So there's been a percent drop since COVID. So more young people are not working.
Yeah. Yeah. Shoot. That makes sense because so many people left the workforce in
Hmm.
during the pandemic for different reasons. And I would imagine that young group that's prime school age. So it's I'm going back to
Hmm.
school. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Or I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna just stay home and be safe and help around the house or something like that. But yeah, that's a good one. That's a good
Yeah.
one.
And then it said that 25% of the 16 to 24-year olds worked in leisure and hospitality industry, which is the largest share of youth workers. And then an additional 18% of employed youth work in the retail trade industry, and another 13% worked in education and health services.
Got it. No doubt.
So as you can see, some of that may consist maybe some hospitality and the education. There may be some payroll, HR, admin work in there, but you notice it didn't say anything about finance. It didn't say anything
Hmm.
about that sector being one of the top
Right.
places. So I find that interesting.
Yeah. Word. Good stuff. Thank you, sir. And we're
Mhm.
gonna get into this is the first time we do a true payroll, a true pay. We call this one true pay crime, a true pay crime on the It's About Your Paycheck show. But it's fun. It's fun for us to do, but it's also very informative for you all to be careful out there with some of these things that folks are doing. Cybercrime is so rampant and high, and the financial crimes. The story I have to share covers has the Financial Crime Network, and they call it FinCEN, and you got this stuff that we should know about. If you're out there, if you're an employee in America, these are things you need to know about. Yeah, Walt is going to start us off with the first one. Whenever you're ready, man, just get us in.
Yes, I have a article. It's talk about a Florida man or woman. It didn't
No,
state their
no,
gender.
it doesn't say Florida. That's messed up. See how you be doing us? You a Florida man too. You just in
Just another state. But
Uh,
yeah, so it's an article about an employee at Regions Bank who was selling customers' identities.
I
And
see.
in a plot to steal over $125,000 from bank branches in Florida, Alabama, Iowa, and Missouri back in 2019. The employee pleaded guilty, and three others involved in the scheme were also sentenced. The
Hmm.
criminals used fake IDs, credit cards, and stolen information to impersonate customers and withdraw money from Region Bank branches. At least 18 customers were victims of the identity theft, and the scheme involved multiple people, and two additional co conspirators are being prosecuted in New York for a related indictment. So it
Yeah.
was far reaching. It looks
Really.
like there was a big group of,
Yeah.
a good enough group of people involved in this scheme trying to get over on customers and selling their information.
Yeah, because you need somebody to sell it to, right? Because if you're the one stealing it from the bank, you need people willing to go out and use those stolen things to get the
Yep.
ill-gotten goods and give me
Yep.
some money back from it. You know what I mean? So hey, or they're just selling it flat. Yeah, I'm selling it. I don't. But yeah, this is why this stuff is so interesting because we don't know, right? We're trying to use
Hmm.
the bank system being safe. and boom, now somebody sold my that. The good part is if it was your bank, this is all FDIC insured. So that's the good part. The bad part is your money's gone for a little bit until the bank has to reconcile that and get you right. I don't know if that process in and of itself could be very harmful to your cash flow because as we know, 70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. So
Yes.
one of these things, one of these hiccups, it got you they got you messed up out there. Or so yeah.
Yeah.
So what are the key takeaways from this?
So some of it we already have gone over, but the key takeaways from this article is that the Regions Bank employees betrayed trust by selling these customer identities,
Yep.
which led to significant financial losses and identity theft for those 18 customers, that at least 18 customers. So it might have been more
It
people,
might have
but they're
been
saying
more.
at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah. Those
Um,
they
so
have big amounts probably.
so one thing before I continue with the key takeaways is that if you're in a position that, see, I don't know what it is about people having these jobs that put them in a position to be tempted like this,
Hmm.
right? Where they have so much access to
Yep.
people's information.
Yep.
So that is why if you work at a bank or you're in a financial services or something that you have like influence like this,
Hmm.
that's why you have to have integrity when you're in a
Hmm.
position like this, because you do have so much power to affect other people's finances. Watch out.
Yep.
Number two, the key takeaways. Again, as we said, they use fake IDs, credit cards, and other stolen information to impersonate the customers, which highlighted vulnerabilities in the bank's security procedures. This is just
Yep.
as we said before in some other true payroll crime or true pay crime stories that we've done in the
Hmm.
past, is that where's the oversight? You know what I'm saying? So these people have a loophole where these people in positions where they the ones who were supposed to be the guards at the gate, and they were just like, okay, I got the key. Nobody else is coming through the gate. Shoot, I'm gonna do what I gotta do. Number three, there were three individuals involved, as we said before, and they each received prison sentences for charges related to conspiracy to commit bank fraud, actual bank fraud, and aggravated identity theft. So there were three
Oh,
different classes of charges that they
they're
got.
doing 20 years probably
Yeah,
if
and
they get
so
convicted. Yeah.
and then the number four takeaway was that the scheme was a coordinated effort across multiple states, because as we said, the four states
Hmm.
that we mentioned earlier, and it targeted multiple Regions Bank branches, which indicated that it was a cross-state co-op that they were running, and that they needed communication between the financial institutions to prevent such fraud, which they didn't have.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
the next few things that I have are some preventative steps that could have been put in place
No
to
doubt.
prevent this from happening, right? Because we just don't want to give you the issue. We're going to try to give you what the solve would have been in this
Yeah.
case as well.
No doubt. Yeah. Give you
So,
some. Yeah. Exactly.
the number one preventative step is employee training and monitoring. So, regular training and strict monitoring of bank employees to detect any unusual activities or unauthorized access to customer information. So, at these bank branches that were hit or targeted, like, there must have not been somebody who had the oversight. It doesn't say how they were eventually caught, because eventually I guess somebody did catch up to them, but there was a loophole or a blind spot in the company that allowed this to happen. So, number two, you want to have enhanced security measures. So, you want to implement robust security protocols such as multi-factor authentication for customer information access and transactions. Like we currently use a payroll provider, ADP, and if you go in to make a change to the employee's profile, if they have notifications set up via their email or their mobile phone, the employees are notified even if we make a change, especially to their
Yes.
address, to the direct
Yes.
deposit. So
Yep.
that'll be a way to alert the employees. So that maybe something like that, a system like that, could help in these type of situations where even if someone is trying to do something shady, that the person that they're impacting or affecting will get a notification and say, "Hey," and get a red alert. Hey, wait a minute, I didn't go in and change this stuff. I didn't go in and change my direct deposit information. What's going
Yep.
on?
Yep.
And that leads me to the number three potential preventative step is the customer verification procedures, strengthening customer verification processes both online and in branch to prevent impersonation and unauthorized access to accounts. And then
Nice.
the last thing would be number four would be collaboration with law enforcement, establishing stronger collaborations between banks and law enforcement agencies across states to quickly identify and apprehend individuals involved in these type of financial crimes. So, is there anything else that
Dope.
you can think of in this case that could have been a preventative step, Brian, at all with these
Well,
employees?
I think that's awesome. Those are geared for the banks, right? The bank that those are things that the banks could do. But I think some of the things that we could do for it to safeguard ourselves, unfortunately, is only keep ourselves educated about these things, right? Come back to the show. We're going to keep talking about cyber crimes and paycheck crimes and things like that. So stay informed, right? As an employee,
Mhm.
stay informed. But I like the things that you brought up with the pay systems, right? Because a lot of these, and I'll give you a good example. I'll give everybody a good example. A lot of these, how can I say, pay systems have notifications, but you got to set it up sometimes, right? It's not default
Yes.
because
Yes.
there is, how can I say, there's a lot of sensitivity behind what payroll admins are doing for the employees. A lot of it
Hmm.
has to be the employee's sign off on it. Like the employee has to give permission to get an email about a notification and get these things. So it's really employee self-service. So if you are at a job and if you have a job and you're getting paid in America, you might have a payroll system that you can log on to. And if you do and you have it, please do leverage the technology. We talk about that, right? Leverage the
Yeah.
technology, log on and click all the things that you want to keep yourself notified about what's happening in on your profile in your workforce system. You know what I mean? Another one is, it might be annoying, but if it has those notifications, and so, my bank has the setting where you can get a notification, and credit cards do this too, right? You can get a notification for every transaction, or
Yeah.
above $25, above $50, above this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I urge you to do every transaction because my mom got burnt, credit card fraud,
Okay.
because she had the transaction at 50 and above.
Hmm.
So what were the frauders doing? They were beating her up under $50. So it
Yep.
got up to $500 in a month before she saw her statement, right? And was like, "What the hell?" The beautiful thing was that the transactions happened in like California, and my mom lives in New York, so
Yeah.
it was an easy fix. But man, this drove her crazy. It really she felt so violated. But
Yeah.
anyway, the point was the notification. So I said, "Ma, switch that notification to every transaction, not just above a certain dollar threshold."
That that's a great call out, and you just made me think of something that happened to me. Right. It's I remember that I was logged into my bank. This is years ago, right?
Yeah.
Many years ago. I was logged into my bank, and I also went to another site at the same time that wasn't protected or anything like that, right? So, like, I went there, and then some way, somehow, I went to that unsecured website, and next thing, a couple of days later, I get a couple of different charges, like
Hmm.
from like France or Italy or something like that. And it
Yep.
wasn't much, and they kept just charging me.
Yep.
And nothing I did, I would tell the bank, and they would reverse it. And then the next month, it would be the same thing, charging me. It was to the
Oh
point
my
that
God.
it was to the point that my bank was like, this was back in the day before banks had a lot of these protocols that they have
Technology. Yeah.
now. But so my bank was just like, hey, we're sorry, or when these things happen, just call us, and we'll reverse the transactions and
They
things
didn't
like
want
that.
to
I was
close
like,
the account and just open a new account.
I ended up closing the account and going to a different
Wow.
bank.
Yeah, yeah, for real. See, and that goes to show you where we've come in this whole cyber attacks and financial fraud crime in time. It made me think of this all, what can we do as employees? Now I feel like you got to research your bank and be like, wait, when's the last time my bank got frauded and what happened? Because a lot of times you're not paying attention. You might have got a letter from your bank that told you, hey, we were just hacked, and
You
be
may not even
careful.
get a letter. You might in your
Email.
notification in your notifications
Oh
online
yes,
on the
when you
bank.
log
There may be
in.
something there, and they may
Yes.
hide it somewhere and be like, "Oh, read this.
I don't even read those. I don't read those though.
Read
You know what I mean?
read our newsletter.
Yeah,
It's in our
exactly.
newsletter."
Nobody's reading these things. Another one, and this is again with the So now we covered notifications, right? So it's notifications, leveraging the technology you have at your job, but also researching, being intentional. Look up the bank again, check your banks. Now, real quick, if you actually get frauded, right? Unfortunately, contact your bank immediately. Stop your payments, like shut things down, stop it, get new cards, get a new account numbers, close the accounts, open new ones up, add all this fraud alert. They have fraud alert, they have credit freezes.
Yes,
These good
yes.
credit cards, you can freeze them. I know somebody that keeps all their credit cards on freeze. And then when they go
Oh
and
yeah,
use them, they
they
unfreeze
unlock it.
them and then
Yep.
use them. And I was like, oh man, I guess if it's real time, if it's instant, then there's really no concern.
In your app, you can say,
That's
"Hey,
what I'm
lock
saying.
my
Yeah, they use
card."
their app. Yeah,
Yep.
they use the app. And it's beautiful. Things like again, leverage technology. So it's stay informed and leverage technology. Be intentional. This folks, this is our money, man. I get
It's our
right. You look at
livelihood.
your face. Look at your face. You take our money. It's a
Es- es-
serious thing.
Especially now in today's climate with the economy that the way it is in the U.S. and everything like that, people are hanging on by a thread with their
Hmm.
paychecks. Again,
Yeah,
what's that stat? 70% of
70% of
Americans
Americans.
live
Yep.
paycheck to paycheck. So
Word.
this type of thing happening to us can change our
Hurts.
lives for the negative, right? And then
Yep.
depending on your bank, now most banks that, in my experience that I've been with, will work with you, but if you're at a smaller bank or you're at a different bank, like hey, they especially if they see that hey this charge is authorized. Say you went to a site that you thought it was something else that it wasn't, and you signed
Oh
up
yeah.
and they got you
You
locked
actually
in.
did it. Right.
Yeah, and you actually did it, and because you I had that situation too where I signed up for some type of service and it
Yeah.
was the
You
most
thought it was
difficult
one
thing,
thing. Yeah.
and it was the most difficult thing to stop. Like I just kept
Wow.
calling a number to try to cancel the account, to cancel the subscription, and couldn't
Wow.
get a person on the phone. And then sending emails, and they wouldn't stop it or anything. They told, "Hey, call our number, call our number." It was like those runaround things that made it really extremely hard for you to
Wow.
end that service. So if you find yourself even in that situation, I know that's a different situation than what we're talking about now,
No,
but
but that's a financial crime though,
yeah,
and that
you
impacts.
still
Yeah.
you still want to watch out for those things and be careful for when you're signing up for stuff because the small print you don't know what all that stuff they're
Hmm.
saying. Just be careful.
Yeah. Try to use reputable companies. Try to
Yeah,
validate the information. But
yeah.
yeah. Yep. And I got a story to share too. All right. So my story again, Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. I just learned this. FinCEN, also known as FinCEN.
My
This is
son,
interesting. What?
I'm gonna name my son Vincent
Oh,
instead of Vincent. Vincent,
Vince.
Vincent.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. This one was very interesting because it talks about check writing. Now we live in a day and age where most folks don't write. I haven't written a check in years, but some folks still do. And basically, banks issued roughly 680,000 reports of check fraud
Wow,
in 2023, but this was up from 350,000 in 21. So it went
wow,
up, right?
almost
Yeah,
double, almost double.
yes, it's crazy because who's writing checks? So plenty of people apparently. So the next little. This is just the key points from the article. These articles will be in our show notes if you want to go and read them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The U.S. Postal Inspection Service reported roughly 300,000 complaints of mail theft in 21, more than double from its prior year total.
Oh,
And it's funny too because I've been watching this. It's trending on Netflix right now. Queen Pins
yes, Queen Pins.
comedy, but they actually
The
are.
coupons, the
Yes,
coupons.
but
Yes,
there's a mail fraud piece in that movie, right? Did you
yeah,
see it
with the
yet?
guy, with the guy. Yes,
You saw it?
yeah, I watched it.
Yeah, I didn't see the whole thing, but I'm far enough in where the U.S. Postal Vince Vaughn comes in and he's the
It's
U.S.
fine.
Postal
Yeah.
Service. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, wait. So it just all came together. I was like, that's mail fraud. So anyway, that mail fraud going up still. And then another one was Americans wrote 3.4 billion checks in 22, but that was down from nearly 19 billion checks from 1990, of course. See, so people
Yeah.
are writing less checks, but peep this. The size of the checks that Americans wrote rose from 673 in 1990 to $2,600 last year
Wow.
in 20. Yes. So check writing is going down, but the amount of checks, the dollar amount on those checks going up. And it makes sense because most people, or more, should I say, most businesses and things that you're paying are digitized. So there's only a
Yeah.
few things. It's probably like rent. You got to go pay your rent or mortgage, if depending on the mortgage company, but some type of thing. You're just writing bigger checks and not as many.
Yes.
And then the last one is in one case in Southern California last year, nearly 60 people were arrested on charges of committing more than 5 million in check fraud against 750 people. Damn.
Wow.
Yeah, just it's interesting, right? And the stats highlight the increase of check fraud and mail theft incidents despite the declining use of checks. So like the dollar amount is going up with the check fraud, but as usage is going down. So it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
We're getting bold. Like one of the things I know that still goes on to this day is people go to check cashing places. Like they go
yeah,
to some places, they go to the corner store that will
yes,
cash your check for you because that
yes,
corner store doesn't necessarily have the security in place to verify that you're this person. You
yep,
work hard enough, you get a fake ID, you got somebody who can hook you up with a fake
yep,
ID, and you go in there and be like, hey,
for
this is
real,
me, cash this check, give me cash, boom, walk out
yep.
and go away. I've actually had an employee who was impacted by that, where someone got their check in the mail somehow, some way, or stole it, and they went to a check cashing place, signed for it, and so we had to do a big investigation. And the check cashing store sent over a signed copy of the person's check, and we looked at their signature, and it was different signatures. So that was the only
That
way
was telling. Yeah,
that we could find relief for that employee. And then the check cashing store was just out of luck because they were trying to come
they got
away, but the
insurance.
employee was like, yeah,
Yeah,
they were like, hey, that's
yeah.
not me.
Yeah, no, that's, I'm glad that they got solved for. It makes
Yeah.
me think of. So I used to work for a staffing agency back in the day in New York, and New York is good for the cities. It's the city life, right? So
Hmm.
the scam that they used to not try to pull. I'm sure plenty of folks were successful, but what I warn you now, folks, if you're listening and you're like, oh, I'm gonna do this too. Now you're gonna end up get owing the money, right? Because
Yeah.
so the scam was they would get the paper check, right?
Hmm.
And they would go down, and right before they go into the check cashing to cash it, they would tell the payroll department that they just got the check from, hey, oh man, I'm so sorry. I lost my check coming out
Yes.
of work. I lost
Yes.
it. It's, oh my God, I don't know. Oh my God, I must have,
They did it
it
twice.
must have been the subway. I don't know.
Yes.
Something. You lost it. So now your payroll department, they're not putting out any alert system. They are just going to void that check and hopefully void it right properly and write a new check for this employee. But it's a timing thing. So they hang up the phone and then they go into the check cashing place, cash the check, and because that takes time, that whole I voided a check thing is not
Yep.
going to hit the because
Stop
the way the
payment.
systems are set up, there's no direct link yet, and the timing of it all. So they play with the timing and they go in and cash that check, go back to the payroll department, get a new check, and go cash that one too.
Get it
But
twice.
and they get paid twice. But that's payroll now with the technology that exists today and the timing and the systems and all that, it can all be easily proven that you did a check fraud situation
Yeah.
and you will be responsible for paying your company back that money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not only that, you might lose your job. I would actually want to fire you
Oh,
because
yeah,
you're right.
especially
That's intentionally, maliciously
es-
stealing.
especially because you and I have had those. I've dealt
Hmm.
with an employee. in my career, I've dealt with an employee that actually did something like that. And the person was like, "Oh, I found my check and I forgot to let you guys know." And
Yep.
no,
No, you
no,
didn't.
like you
So
always
you
that
cashed them
was the
twice?
lines. Yes. So if you knew you were able to cash the other one, why
Right.
cash the new check
Why
too?
does Yep, exactly right. It
Yeah.
was like, you just stop.
Stop the plan. Stop playing.
Oh god. So look, perfect segue into our safe talk conversation of this topic. Do you know people, and we are not, do you know people at work that have stolen from your job? And we're not trying to put people on blast. That is not this is not an
I
expose.
mean,
We're
I
not
mean,
investigative reporters. No, we're just like
I
talking
mean,
about how does that make you feel? What, of course, you should find a way to anonymously report that,
yeah.
because
What should you do, right?
I don't, and that's what the safe talk is about. What do you do? Thank God I cannot think of any egregious theft, right? What this made me think of was two things. As employees, if you don't have a time and attendance system that, and shout out to Time Track Go. If you don't have a time and attendance system, please go to timetrackgo.com and urge your employers to get one. But
Mhm.
because if you have a good time and attendance system, it really benefits the employer, where they can, how do you know? I don't know. They can build regulations and guard lines and kind of govern when you can punch in
Guardrails.
and punch out. But if you don't have a good system, you might be able to punch in 30 minutes earlier and punch out 30 minutes, even 10 minutes. If you constantly punch in 10 minutes early and 10 minutes late, that's 20 minutes a day, right?
Oh, it could be that. And what if you were like going out to lunch and
Yep.
not clocking out or anything,
Oh,
or
I didn't even
you
think
just
about that
like
one. Yeah. You just go to
you're
lunch.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I
So
forgot. I'm sorry.
what Brian is talking about is time theft here,
Yeah,
right? And
yes.
so you could steal time. Like if you know somebody that's doing that, it's just like people don't sometimes you as employees, you who are listening to this, you may not think that time theft equates to a financial thing. It actually does, because the
Heck yeah.
person
That's
that's
money.
stealing time, they're getting paid more money. Brian
Yep.
and I have had employees who we've
Hmm.
had to chin check and be like, hey, to start cooking in and out for lunch,
Yep.
you need
Yeah,
to,
absolutely.
like, hey, like I saw that you got back at this time and you were just sitting there for an extra 20 minutes not doing anything, and you just continued to eat your lunch
Yep.
after you clocked back in
Yep.
or whatever, when you were still technically on lunch and not working at all. You were over there on your phone doing
Hmm.
whatever.
Yep.
Hey, you took an hour lunch but you only clocked in and out for 30-minute lunch.
Yep. That's right. Oh wait, no. My wife used to tell me sometimes employees would, what would they do? They wouldn't. So let's say you're in a building, some type of big building, and like lunch, you got to walk to go get your lunch somewhere and bring, if you don't bring your food with you, type of thing, right?
Mm,
Yeah, I guess this is anywhere, right? If you don't have food with you and you just don't go sit down and eat, you go get food, right? Imagine you leave, you go get your lunch, but you don't clock out for lunch until you sit down to eat lunch. You already
yeah,
wasted 30 minutes getting your lunch.
if
And now,
not more.
if not more, and now after that you're gonna sit down and clock in or out to eat lunch and black in. Folks,
Bro,
companies are gonna catch up. Like, it's gonna catch that, and that's time theft, which is money theft.
I've seen it to the point where somebody didn't clock out at all, went out to go get lunch, were gone for an hour, and just, yo, where's this person at? Did they clock out? Look and see their punches. They didn't clock out, and they come back in with a bunch of food and sit back. Oh, I didn't clock. I'm still working.
Yeah, no, you're
You
not.
left to go get your food.
You,
There's a difference for me. There's a difference between you ordering something, going downstairs,
and
getting
getting
your
it
order,
right.
and then that's different. And then you working through lunch. That's different.
It's true, true. Okay.
That's different to
Mm,
me. But that even your boss, your company, if they're sticklers, they may want you to clock out for a 5-10 minute break while you go get your food, at
that's
least
right.
something,
That's right.
even if you are working through lunch. So just something
Yeah.
to consider, man. But what would you do? How would you proceed if, especially if you're new in the
It's
workforce,
tough.
like
Yeah,
you just
it's
got
tough,
somewhere
man.
and like you have like the old guard at the job, and you know that they're doing stuff that's wrong, and they're like, "Hey, this is what everybody does, man. Come on,
Oh yeah, no,
like
yeah.
everybody does that here, man. Nobody's watching. Come on, man. Come on. Are you gonna be the one who rings the alarm or shines a light on it, and then everybody looks at you like sideways?" But see, like societal pressures go into these things, decisions that people make,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, whether they
No, it's
choose
very
to
tough.
do something or not.
Yeah.
Do you do the right thing by the company, or do you just stay with the status quo? Hey, everybody else is doing it. I might as well do it too.
Folks, there's no right answers here. This is why we call it safe talk, and because there's no judgment, there's no right answer. It's really just up to you and your situation and what you do what's right for you. But it's that's a tough one, man. For me, I think it depends on the position you have, right? If you're a
Yeah.
manager, if you're a
Oh,
leader at this company, then you absolutely need to safely, maybe anonymously, report things and correct things, right? If you're a soldier, I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is for you. The thing I try to live by is do the right thing even when nobody's watching,
yep.
right?
Yes. To your point, if you want to be anonymous, be like, write a
Be
note,
anonymous. Yeah.
print out something, because if you don't
Word.
want somebody knows
Word.
your handwriting, print
Yeah,
out a
yeah.
Word document and be like, hey,
Yep.
I don't I'm just a little worried that somebody might retaliate against me, but I
Yep.
think you should look into this and
Yep.
report it
There
to
you go.
somebody up the chain. And that's some way you can do it if you want to be careful and not put yourself out there at potentially make yourself a target for someone's
Yeah.
retaliation. So
Yeah. That's a
like
good
to your
one.
point, I think there is a way, no matter what level you're at, whether you are report to someone or you have direct reports, like you should do the right thing, in my opinion, versus just doing the status quo here. You know?
Yeah, no, I agree. No, I agree. You're right. Yeah, they do the right thing. But again, it's tough. Yeah. Like we've shared on this show, some folks that I know have been scared to go to their bosses or companies just to like address something on their check. So let alone blow the whistle on other people. They don't even want to tell them themselves. They don't
Yeah.
even want to get something corrected on their own check because, oh my God, I need this job so much. I can't be
Oof.
fired. And so it's tough, man. It's tough. But then it's like a balancing
It's
act because like
it,
business. What?
yeah, and it's even tougher because there's so many different scenarios that we could
Yes,
drum
that's
up
what.
here. Like if you're the employee and you notice that your boss or your manager is the one that's doing the
Oh,
shady
oh,
practice,
heck, yeah. No, you got,
oof,
yeah.
what
That
then?
shoot that heightens the priority because now your job is at risk. Because if your
Hmm.
manager goes down, who's to say he doesn't bring his whole department? With, oh, my whole department's in on it.
Yeah, they
They
they knew.
know.
They
They
knew.
knew. All of
Yep.
them got to go there. They wiped the whole department away. That's crazy.
Hmm.
And then another thing is, I don't know, have some to do a job well, right? To be respected at a job, you're doing your job well. You got to have some level of respect for your job, for the company, right? And that what's that saying? Oh, I'm a company guy. As a company guy, is a company person. And that usually just means they're mindful. They have the company's best
Best interest.
interests. Yeah,
Yes.
best interests in mind. And I think it's easier for us because as payroll people, we already act in a fiduciary manner for our companies. And fiduciary
Yes.
manner, folks, means that we're protecting the money for our companies,
Yep.
but it's inherent in our job, right? So it's a natural feeling for us if you're good at payroll, if you're good at HRIS, if you're good at being an HR professional or a payroll or a finance professional, we talk about the Holy Trinity,
Hmm.
and then you're already thinking this way. But if you're not, maybe you're not thinking. So, like, I urge people, if you want to make the best out of your work situation, that you should have the company's best interests at heart. Because I know it's not, it's little things, but think about it. If everybody's stealing from the company, let's say it's a standalone company, you work for a mom and pop, whatever, guess what? You're going to put the company out of business.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You're going to literally drive the company into bankruptcy. For what? Don't
Yeah.
you need a job?
Yeah. Because think about it, the downstream potential downstream impact
Impact.
in that
Hmm.
scenario would be, think about it. You may sully the company's reputation,
Yes.
prevent
Yes.
them from wanting other people to come in and work for this place. Like there's
Yep.
so many different things that the
Yep.
decisions that you make or lack of decisions that we make in these scenarios that we find that people are stealing from the company, there's so much impact that we have to think about because, man, like Brian said, man, this could shut down the business. This could
Yeah.
impact the morale at the workplace. Oh, these guys are
Yeah.
doing that, especially if it's reported, and depending on the outcome of the investigation or the disciplinary outcome. Man, imagine you as a if you went to tell on me because you found out that I was stealing, and then I just get a slap on the hand and, oh, stop
Hmm.
doing that. The company can do what they want to do, but they'd be like, yo, so this guy stole over $20,000, and then they're gonna let him still work here?
Yep. Exactly. Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes. Ooh. I. Yeah. Oh no. I'm gonna say no. Yeah. So I can warn you, all folks, us employees, if you ever are granted the responsibility and the benefit of having a company credit card,
Oof.
you have to act be like super diligent. Beyond reproach is the phrase I was looking for
Yes,
earlier.
yes,
Beyond
yes.
reproach, you have to be with these things in these financial situations with work, because I have seen people get fired for charging personal things on company credit cards
Hmm.
and acting all nonchalant about, oh no, I'll pay it. No, don't worry, I'll pay it. No, it's not about your pay. It's about you shouldn't have charged it in the first place.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. See, but some companies, what they do is they have their accountants or finance team looking at every charge on the company
That's right.
card, and if they notice
Yep.
something that is like personal, they deduct it from your paycheck because you already signed the agreement for the company card
Yep.
anyway. And they say,
Yep.
hey, if you find any personal charges, we will automatically deduct it from your card. I had a situation where a person paid their rent or their mortgage with their company card, and because the company put it in the verbiage of the
Interesting.
contract agreement, the credit card
Oh, is that what
agreement,
they did?
yeah, they put it in there.
Okay.
Hey, if there's any
Okay.
personal
That
charges,
makes sense.
so they covered
Okay.
themselves, and they ended up
Okay.
having to take it from the person's check. The next check took it
Mm,
all. You shouldn't have did that. If you needed help, you should have let us know that you had a hardship going on, and we
yep.
would have potentially
We
helped
would
you
have helped
with
you. That's right.
that. Yep.
That's right. Then you see, yeah, yes, yeah. Again, just acting in the best interest of your company, because folks get delusion confused as they have this. Oh, company should do this for me. The company should do this for me. No, the company exists to make money, right?
Yeah.
These companies were built and started for profit, unless you
Yep.
literally work for a nonprofit organization, in which case they still cannot afford to do everything for that. That honestly, nonprofits mean they have less money to work with. Okay.
Yeah.
Nonprofit means whatever profits they do make goes back into something else, not our pockets. So if you are
Yeah.
working in a nonprofit situation, it really should be because it's absolutely what you want to do. If you're chasing the dollars, if you're paper chasing, don't go to a nonprofit. You know what I'm saying? And not no
Yeah.
knock on nonprofits, but it's just the reality of it. Nonprofits are limited in their funding. Okay, they are
Yes.
limited in how much they can do with money, right? Because they have a
Yeah.
board that's governing. It's a nonprofit. That means they cannot take the extra earnings and pour it back into salaries. And
Yes.
they're
Yes.
very limited. They're very structured. They're very organized. Point is, if you're taken away from the company's business, then you're hurting your own company, right? Like we have to be we have to be mindful again that the company wasn't started to pay your rent. It wasn't started to get you out of financial debt because you got yourself in it, right? Like, that's not what it is. Now, thankfully, the world has changed since me and Walt started working,
Hmm.
and companies are very employee centric now, right?
Yes.
Pay transparency is one of them. We talk about and
Yeah.
I'll continue to talk about pay transparency because it's something that is I'm very opinionated on that pay transparency law, because my belief with pay transparency is that it's okay to talk about your gross amount, right? We talk about
Yeah.
gross and net on this show as well. Gross amount is just your annual salary divided by how many times you get paid. That's your
Yeah.
gross amount. Or if you're an hourly employee, it's your hourly rate times how many hours you work. That's your gross amount, right? But
Yep.
then payroll we'll start doing, we apply the taxes, we deduct
Yep.
benefits, we deduct the garnishment, blah, and then boom, the net amount is what you take home, your take home pay. So
Yes.
for me, pay transparency has to remain at the gross level. You can talk about gross amounts, but by the time you get to the net amount, employees are very different in what's applied to their check. I can make, or rather, I can make less than Walt, but bring home more than him because of the deductions that are being applied to our checks.
Yes, sir. Yep.
As we near the end of this episode, we'd like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to you for listening. Before we sign off, here are a couple quick things. Don't forget to follow It's About Payroll on LinkedIn and It's About Your Paycheck on Facebook and TikTok. We love engaging with our audience, and you'll be able to receive exclusive updates and behind-the-scenes content. Thank you for being a part of our payroll community, and thank you for being a part of this journey with us. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and most importantly, keep going.
So you can't compare. You go, Brian, imagine two people make different amounts, but they bring home the same amount of money. Whoa,
Yep.
how the heck does that happen? Because you don't know what's going on in their checks. And it's no one's business. That's the part that I warn against in the pay transparency movement. And it's illegal. It's not even a movement, but it's the laws that are being passed. Don't share
Yes.
your net amount. No, the gross amount. Sure. Hey, I make X amount annually for my position. No problem.
Yes.
But the net amount is what I guard against. Yeah, I went off on a tangent. I don't even know anymore. But yeah, so those are one of the employee-centric. The companies are super employee. They're doing more things. They're doing employee retention and talent attraction is top of the list. How do we get employees? How do we get good employees and keep them? So you are in a better situation. We employees are in a much better situation now than it was 10, 20 years ago, where it was like, shoot, do you remember after the bubble burst in '08? They were like, you better be glad you have a job.
Yeah, man.
You try to complain in '09, you couldn't complain about a job in '09 because they were like, what? And believe I was a manager at that time. So I was one of them. Like, you got a job, right? You got a job, right?
Yep.
Because that was the company line. That was the company that we were able to talk about it like that because the company said it's okay. But now, shoot, and what? Somebody will quit on your ass. You say something like that to them. You gotta watch how you talk. Go watch them Veronica videos. Go watch them Veronica videos on TikTok. I'm trying to see. We got to get her on the show. I was about to Google it right now. I'm like, who is this behind these clips? I need her on the show because I want her to come and talk to us and our people about employees, about these things. Employee rights and benefits are on the rise.
Yes, sir.
So we are living in the greatest day ever for that. But at the same time, again, that's not why these companies are starting. Apple did not start to employ people. They started to make millions. Steve Jobs started to get rich, right? Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, like all these folks started their companies to be rich, to get money.
To obtain
not
wealth.
to, I want to employ as many people as I can. No, that's not what they did. They actually want to do the opposite, employ the less and make the most, right? Word up. Just be realistic about the approach when it comes to work and in the workplace and what your benefits are. Be aware. And then again, I'm sorry, we went off on a tangent, but it's because it's like, what do you do with the Safe Talk start? This is Safe Talk, right? This is what I'm saying. We get to go off on tangents and whatnot. What would you do? What would you do if you knew? Didn't you know? Did you actually know somebody that's there? I feel like you have a story.
Oh yeah, well, I was telling we told stories about time theft. You and I worked at the same place that somebody was actually doing that because we had to monitor their time and this and that.
Yeah.
You remember how we had to?
Yep.
So we know people. Yeah, I know some situations, man. And the right thing is to escalate it.
You did have. Now I remember the story. The one that the dude was like, yo, write me more money, write me a check and I'll hook you up or
Oh
something like that?
yeah. So he needed some retro. He called. He was very belligerent. He was very obscene in how he was talking to the
Damn.
people we
Yeah.
were working with. I was a manager at that time, so I got on the phone with him. I said, "Hey, we're gonna take care of it. We'll get you your money by tomorrow. We'll run an off cycle for you. You'll be paid. It'll be direct deposited into your account. You'll be good." And so he hits me up on the side. Like he came up to see me. He's like, "Thanks for hooking me up," and pulled me to the side. He said, "Man, like, bro, thanks for hooking me up. Maybe we can start something here where you work in payroll, dude. Maybe you can like hook a brother up with a little extra, and we split it. Set up a fake employee or something, bro. We gotta get paid, man. Like stuff like I'm just like, huh? Okay." And so I went and immediately escalated it. Hey, this dude just propositioned me. And the silly thing is that he put it in email as
What?
well. Yeah, let's let me know, bro. Let me know
Oh, I
if you
missed
want
that
to do that.
part. Holy cow.
Let me know if you want to do that. And I shared the email with HR. Next thing you know, gone.
He's gone.
Yeah,
Yeah, you gotta do.
trying to steal
See
from the
that
company.
again, that threatens your job directly. Because
Oh yes.
had you not done that, and even think about it, if you didn't escalate it, and let's say clearly you weren't gonna do it, but you also did not do anything with him, and nah, man, no, I'm good, puts him in a situation now to attack you, and
Yeah.
now it's a he said she said,
Ooh,
and
we both
who's
could have
getting
been like,
fired? Both of y'all. Exactly. That's
mm,
right.
well,
Both of y'all.
we can't trust
Can't
either of
trust
you.
you. Nope.
See you later.
Exactly right. Exactly. And that's the thing when you're in a situation like this. If you work for a bank, if you work in any of these high sensitive financial arenas where you're trusted, even with information, if your currency is data, you don't even have to be dealing with money and it's data. If you think about it, we're just data jockeys. We're not really counting money out. And once upon a time, I guess payroll people were actually dishing some cash out. We right now it's all data, it's all digital data. The money doesn't hit until it gets into your account. That's when the cash transaction happens. And honestly, we just move data to do that. So
Yeah.
we're guardians of this data, of this financial stuff. We have to be beyond reproach. And if you're out there in that, you guys take your job seriously, man. That's how you become great, is if you take
Yes.
these little jobs and you take every little thing seriously.
Yes. Correct,
So
man.
what
Well
was you gonna
said,
say?
man. No,
Oh,
I think
okay.
that's the perfect segue to end the show, man. It's a
No
great
doubt.
show, great
No doubt.
safe
Yep.
talk conversation.
Yep.
And key takeaways is do the right thing, in my opinion.
Word
And
up. Even when no
watch
one's
out.
watching.
Yeah, even when no one's watching, and guard yourself as we went
Yes.
through the different things.
Yes.
Guard yourself against these scammers. Protect yourself as the employee. Protect yourself from your employer and
Word.
any potentially shady people at that place. Protect yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Be aware, be intentional. And until the next time, folks, we love you. Hope you like most of our listeners are audio anyway, but check us out on YouTube now. You can see our real backgrounds. No more green screen. So check us out. Until the next time, folks, we love you. Peace.
Peace.